What if the smartest person in the room isn't the kindest, but the one willing to bend the rules when it matters most? In a world that often rewards cunning over virtue, could embracing strategy and pragmatism be the ultimate power move? Niccolò Machiavelli was a controversial Renaissance philosopher who believed that success often lies in understanding the darker truths about power and human nature. And by the end of this video, you'll see why Machiavelli's advice on power reveals why nice guys finish last. To understand Machiavelli's advice, it's essential to look at the world he lived in. A world as unpredictable and chaotic as a chessboard with missing pieces. Renaissance Florence, where Machiavelli was born and raised, was anything but peaceful. It was a hotbed of power struggles, where city-states like Venice, Milan, and Naples constantly clashed for dominance. The Medici family, one of Florence's most powerful dynasties, ruled with force and cunning, but even they couldn't avoid being ousted when the political tides shifted. Adding to the turmoil were foreign powers like France and Spain, whose ambitions turned Italy into a battleground. It was in this turbulent environment that Machiavelli began his career, serving Florence as a diplomat and later as Secretary of the Republic. He saw how moral ideals often collapsed under the weight of political reality, and how those unwilling to adapt were quickly left behind. For Machiavelli, the key to survival wasn't hoping the world would change to meet your standards. It was understanding the world as it truly was. This is where Machiavelli's famous realism comes in. He wasn't interested in how leaders should act to align with moral ideals. He wanted to know what it took to hold on to power. His argument? Morality is great in theory, but in practice, it often needs to take a back seat to pragmatism. Leaders, he argued, have to be prepared to make tough, even uncomfortable decisions to secure their rule and protect their state. Machiavelli had a bold take on morality that still raises eyebrows today. He believed that sometimes the end goal is so important that it justifies the methods used to get there, even if those methods aren't exactly virtuous. But that doesn't mean he encouraged outright evil. Instead, he saw that leadership often involves tough decisions, ones that don't always align with traditional ethics. Sometimes a leader needs to be kind. Other times, they need to be ruthless. Sometimes honesty works, but in other cases, deception might be the smarter move. For Machiavelli, success wasn't about being perfectly moral. It was about being effective. To explain this, Machiavelli used one of his most famous metaphors, the lion and the fox. A good leader, he said, needs to combine the lion's strength with the fox's cunning. Why? Because strength alone won't protect you from trickery, and cleverness alone won't help you face a direct attack. What makes this idea so powerful is how universal it is. Whether you're negotiating a business deal, managing a team, or navigating personal relationships, knowing when to show strength and when to rely on strategy can be the difference between winning and losing. Yes, Machiavelli had a pretty blunt take on human nature. He believed people are mostly self-interested, unreliable, and often driven by their own needs above all else. That might sound harsh, but it can be freeing. A good leader knows how to stay cautious and act decisively when loyalty wavers. This realism ties into one of Machiavelli's most famous and misunderstood ideas. It's better for a leader to be feared than loved. Ideally, he thought a ruler could be both, but if you have to choose, fear is more reliable. Love can fade or shift with circumstances, but fear sticks because it's tied to survival. That said, Machiavelli wasn't about creating tyrants. It's not about terrorizing people. It's about earning their respect and maintaining control. Machiavelli also understood the power of appearances. People don't judge leaders by their inner intentions, by what they show to the world. This isn't about being fake, it's about being practical. One of Machiavelli's more provocative ideas was his belief that good people often fail because they're unwilling to learn from their less moral counterparts. He didn't suggest becoming like them, but rather studying their strategies. If a rival uses alliances or clever tactics to gain power, a good leader can adapt those methods while staying true to their own values. Machiavelli didn't reject morality entirely, he just believed it needed to be flexible. Sticking rigidly to principles, he argued, could become a weakness in a world where others are willing to bend or break the rules. Instead, he suggested leaders take a practical approach, weighing the outcomes of their actions to find the path that best meets their goals. His ideas are surprisingly relevant today. Whether you're in politics, business, or even managing personal relationships, the core dynamics of power haven't changed much. Take Nelson Mandela as an example. He balanced strategy and ethics, building alliances and adapting to challenges without compromising his principles. On the other hand, consider Richard Nixon. His choice to manipulate power for personal gain backfired, leading to the Watergate scandal and his downfall. In the corporate world, Machiavelli's advice resonates with leaders navigating competitive industries. Think of figures like Steve Jobs or Elon Musk. They've taken bold risks, challenged norms, and adapted to shifting landscapes to achieve their goals. While their methods might not fit traditional views of morality, their ability to innovate and lead shows Machiavelli's belief that success often requires calculated risks and out-of-the-box thinking. Adaptability, one of Machiavelli's core principles, is perhaps more important now than ever. In today's fast-changing world, leaders must be ready to pivot and rethink their strategies to keep up with market trends, new technology, or evolving social expectations. He also stresses the importance of preparation. Luck, or fortune, as Machiavelli called it, plays a significant role in life, but we can prepare to take advantage of opportunities when they come our way. This might mean improving our skills, networking with others, or staying informed about the things that matter most to us. Being ready allows us to turn unexpected moments into stepping stones for success. Machiavelli's approach to ethical dilemmas is especially practical. He understood that life often presents us with tough choices where no option is perfect. His advice? Don't shy away from these situations. Instead, face them directly and choose what aligns best with your long-term goals and values. Sometimes this means making sacrifices in the short term for a greater purpose. Conflict resolution is another area where Machiavelli's insights shine. Power struggles are part of life, whether at work, in social circles, or within families. Machiavelli advised finding a balance between fear and respect, which can be applied to resolving disputes. By addressing conflicts with a mix of firmness and fairness, we can maintain authority while preserving relationships. His focus on timing, knowing when to act and when to hold back, is equally relevant. Often patience and strategy are better than reacting in the heat of the moment. His wisdom extends deeply into personal relationships. Understanding human nature, one of Machiavelli's core principles, can help us navigate friendships, family dynamics, and romantic connections. Recognizing that everyone has their own fears, desires, and insecurities allows us to approach these relationships with empathy and clear expectations. Machiavelli wasn't advocating manipulation, he simply encouraged a realistic view of human behavior. Finally, Machiavelli's views on ambition offered a nuanced perspective. He didn't see ambition as inherently good or bad, it all depends on how it's used. When guided by thoughtful strategy and a sense of purpose, ambition can lead to extraordinary achievements. But when it's unchecked or driven by greed or ego, it can destroy relationships and even lives. This balanced approach encourages us to channel our ambitions in ways that align with our values and contribute positively to the world around us. Machiavelli reminds us that life is complex and full of challenges, but with realism, preparation, and a clear sense of purpose, we can navigate it with both strength and integrity. In our modern world where every action is scrutinized online and offline, Machiavelli's lessons on perception and adaptability hold undeniable value. Social media, with its constant flow of curated highlights, shapes how we're viewed by peers, employers, and even strangers. Machiavelli's focus on maintaining authenticity while crafting a strategic public image is especially helpful in this environment. It's also worth considering the critics of Machiavelli's philosophy. Some argue his pragmatic approach can justify unethical actions, while others see his cynical take on human nature as overly negative. These criticisms don't diminish the value of his ideas. Instead, they invite us to engage with them critically. Machiavelli challenges us to question not just his philosophy, but our own assumptions, helping us extract lessons that fit our circumstances while rejecting what doesn't align with our values. So the next time you find yourself at a crossroads, ask yourself, what would Machiavelli do? His insights remind us that true power lies in understanding when to adapt, when to act, and when to hold back. Success isn't just about doing what's expected. It's about mastering the art of timing, perception, and strategy. If Machiavelli's wisdom resonates with you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more explorations into the fascinating world of philosophy. See you in the next video.